When she left, I decided to swallow every pill in the cabinet, trying to commit.
Okay. What's good, YouTube? My name's Thomas, aka Sharp Witted. I'm a high functioning autistic schizophrenic. Um, I've been suffering with ADHD, um, autism, and schizophrenia pretty much my whole life. I remember when it started, and I had no idea if it was normal or not, so I just shut my mouth about it and never said anything. I didn't get diagnosed till about 2017, so that's where this story actually begins. Now, I had a video go viral, and that video did very well and scared the bejesus out of me. So many people watching me at one time. I didn't think that would happen so quickly, and I got overwhelmed, so I ended up deleting that video. I'm going to revisit that video in this video because there has been a recent uproar of people talking into the camera and just speaking their truth. Sorry, a motorcycle just drove by. People have been speaking into the camera and then speaking their truth. And so I would like to take this opportunity to speak my truth. And I hope that it resonates with some of you. Um, and I would like to start posting more content just talking straight to the camera on this channel. I have many channels. I have been a YouTuber for a very long time, but haven't really been directly involved in front of the camera. I'm always either editing for somebody, making music, or giving ideas or scripting, etc. So now I figure it's time to actually speak up and stop being a little coward and actually say how I feel. And hopefully that, just like all the videos on YouTube that has helped me get to this point where I could even look at this camera lens and speak my mind, I'm hoping that you find something in this video that will actually help you get to that level as well. Enjoy the video.
I've always wanted to start a vlog on YouTube. For some reason, I get super insecure. I don't know why, because it's pretty weird because I'm a songwriter and I have music videos and forms of video, but it seems like when I get in front of a camera and just start freestyling, I end up just judging myself and freezing up. But I realize that nobody's perfect, and hopefully with time I'll get better. Topics I want to cover are things like spirituality, theology, conspiracies, occult knowledge, extraterrestrial life, paranormal activity, pretty much anything that's out there to the norm of regular society. I enjoy writing music. I enjoy speaking to people and bettering myself. And I just want to share that type of entertainment and knowledge with you guys. I hope that I'm doing a good job because this is not something I do on a daily basis. Sometimes you can't express yourself to everybody because they'll think you're weird or that you're just thinking too hard about a subject, when in reality I'm just, breaking out of the social construct. A little about myself. I was born in Harlem Hospital in Harlem, New York. I moved out to Los Angeles, California when I was 3 months old. Ended up living with my grandaunt that took care of me back and forth the majority of my life between my godmother and my mother and my aunties back in New York. So I'm a little bit of both, Los Angeles and New York. The funny thing is that I grew up with my family on the West Coast and really thought that they were my family as far as my grandaunt being my mother and my cousins being my brothers. And it was all very much confusing when I saw my mother for the first time, which was around 9 or 10 when she came to visit me out in Los Angeles. When I first met my mother, I was very confused because I was being told that, this is your mother and, this is the person that's going to be taking care of you, when I've already got adapted to the life in California and had no clue who this person was at all. But I created a bond with her, and she eventually ended up leaving back to New York without me, and I stayed with my family. When I was 13, I ended up flying out there and meeting my mother and my 2 twin brothers that my mother had after me. And so I was becoming to learn my new family. It was a bit rough out there, but very much different than it was in Los Angeles, and I really enjoyed it. They don't call it the city that never sleeps for no reason. Literally, you can walk outside at 3 o'clock in the morning and it'll be like 3 o'clock p.m. in Los Angeles. And that's something that always, made me feel a sense of joy because I'm kind of a night owl and always been a night owl. So I work better, during the p.m. hours or the early a.m. hours. So it's kind of a good thing. I didn't have as much structure out there. So I'd be out till like 2 o'clock in the morning at like 12, 13 years old, hanging out with people, looking at the sights, going to the river, fishing, things that I just did not do in Los Angeles. So I quickly fell in love very quickly. I ended up leaving back and going back to LA, probably like 4 months into my New York trip. When I got back out to LA, I was just putting the pieces together and trying to understand it, but I never, treated any family members differently. They were still my brothers, they were still my mothers. So, I had a pretty, strange life living in Los Angeles. I lived in pretty nice areas and pretty bad areas. In the pretty bad areas, I was constantly fighting, constantly, doing things I'm not supposed to do, involved in gang activity, and trying to keep myself from there because I had an uncle and a godmother that very much preached that they never want to be a part of that life because they've witnessed that life growing up themselves and wanted me to be different, which I totally respect and totally appreciate now. So if you're watching, I appreciate that, fam. So I'll tell you more and more stories as my vlogs, go on. But eventually, I guess the first story I'll talk about is the death of my mother. So this particular time that I visited, I was living with my mother and my twin brothers, and she had a boyfriend at the time. He was very abusive, constantly hitting and choking on my mom. And one day I couldn't handle it, so I went and got a spatula and a pan off the oven, and I proceeded to hit him in the head with it. He got very upset. So I decided to go run in the bathroom and lock the door. I don't remember much about that night after that. All I can remember is sleeping in the bathroom and hearing sirens at the door. The next couple of days, it was very calm and very strange between me and my mom, but I eventually went and moved with an auntie. Staying at the time with my auntie, she had kids that she was taking care of herself. I eventually got homesick and was like, dude, I got to get back to Los Angeles. If I don't see a palm tree soon, I'm going to lose my mind. So I ended up going back to Los Angeles. About a year after that, my godmother was taking me to basketball practice. Oh no, it was a basketball game. It was actually the championship. And I was one of the star players on the team. But she eventually told me, there's people that, have to go through things the hard way and people that have to go through the easy way. And I was like, what do you mean? And she just simply said to me, you're going to have to go through things the hard way. And I was confused, but about 10 minutes later we were driving, and she turned and she looked at me and she said, Thomas, your mother died. Now, I didn't know what to take of this. I was shocked, but I really didn't know how to take of this. I didn't understand it all. But I eventually went to the basketball game, and as I'm walking into the gym, one of my cousins come up to me and tells me, I'm sorry that your mother's gone, and I'm very, very remorseful that it happened to you. And that's when it hit me, And I don't know about you, but trying to play a basketball game when you just been told that your mother died, it's not the easiest thing to do. Suffice to say, I lost that game, But that was the least of my problems at that time. That hit me hard. I ended up going home that night and for the next 2 nights contemplating suicide. My auntie, my grandaunt, was going to fly out to the funeral in New York. And she asked me if I wanted to go, and I decided not to go. And she said, okay. When she left, I decided to swallow every pill in the cabinet, trying to commit suicide. I was knocked out for like 2 or 3 days. When I woke up, I was really groggy, really tired. But I eventually got back to health. My auntie, which I call my mother, by the way, as well, came back to Los Angeles, quickly took me to the doctor, and they decided that I was okay to go home. So I went home. That's just one of the things that was traumatizing in my life that eventually led me to spirituality and enlightenment. Those are some of the things that I'll be talking about on this channel. But that's just the intro of a little bit that I'll give you before I get into the serious topics. So eventually, I found out the story that she was stabbed in the throat by her ex-boyfriend, which is the guy that I hit with the pans, and that's a story in itself. She basically moved on and got another person that she was going to marry, and he ended up being in a jealous rage and killing her. And that's the reason why I went towards spirituality. Not then and there, but eventually it'd be the platform for me to end up realizing that I have extreme depression, anxiety, and almost damn near schizophrenia. What I hope to accomplish with these YouTube videos is to connect with other YouTubers or just other viewers in general and start a conversation. You know, my dream was always to have a job where I am helping other people out, helping them find their way, and just have positive feedback and give positive feedback.
I deleted this video at first, but after going through my camera roll, I realized how important it was and how I should give talking to the camera another shot.